Hello everyone, I'm your host Thomas28 and welcome back to Cryogenic Simulation. So, as we I can't talk 5 seconds into the video. As we left off last episode, we started exploring Pneumaticraft and have just unlocked access to AE2. Now, I did go ahead and build this monstrosity using our newly formed plastic mixer to make liquid compressors to fully build out the, oil refinery setup. So now, using the 4-stack refinery, we take our oil, break it down into diesel, kerosene, gasoline, and LPG. Diesel comes into this first TPP to get broken down into kerosene. The kerosene comes into the second one to get broken down into gasoline. The gasoline comes into the third one to get broken down into LPG. Then the LPG feeds into all of the liquid compressors, into this buffer tank, and into this TPP where we take our brittle plastic and make liquid plastic so we can craft plastic. Pretty good. And then I also threw down this supersound muffler from Supersound Muffler Revived and set it to blacklist the leaking gas sound. So even though all of these have the security upgrade, we can't hear it, which is very nice. It was getting very, very old hearing the tss, tss over and over and over again. So it was nice that I figured out that that mod was in here. And then I went and built a pressure chamber so we can go ahead and make more compressed iron instead of having to make TNT and blowing it up, which is pretty nice. Now delving into the next chapter, logistics, we're gonna start AE2 and we're gonna need to start with iron large plates and chisel. So I should have, actually, can I make iron large plates from, oh, we can use the compactor, perfect. Wait a minute. Iron large plate, oh, you have to put iron plates in there. Okay, that's a little annoying. Luckily we have tons and tons of iron though, so it's really not a problem. And that's actually way too much iron. There we go. Now which one of these is my plate cast? This one. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And that's probably overkill, but to make both of these, we'll need 2 iron large plates. And a single iron large plate is 8 of these. And you can't go wrong overproducing something, like it's going to come to use at some point eventually, especially after we set up AE2 and just store everything inside of it. That should make it go a lot easier. So let's take all of these. Where's my compressor? Or is it the compactor? So if we take out this, throw that in here, that should compact it and then throw them into the fluid transposer, which will do nothing. Let me grab these. Yeah, we don't need that many. Thank you. Come back over here. Yep, iron large plates. They won't even go inside. They're not a valid target. So now we can grab the second one. Like so. Throw that back in there. Grab my chisel. Right click. Chisel. Make the silicon prep. I did not want both. Can I chisel this again? There we go. And make the calculation press. Perfect. So now we have those two out of the way. Now then, to make the circuit bases, we're going to take our inscriber silicon press, combine it with 2 redstone comparators, 3 light gray plastic, and 3 electrum plates that will produce 8 printed circuit bases. And then to make the calculation circuits, we take our calculation press, combine it with a block of redstone, charged Certus, and 6 quartz. Now, where do I get more? Then you fuse these in the induction smelter. I haven't made one of those yet. So wait, no, I have the induction smelter. I don't have the redstone furnace. That's the other one. And quartz, I think the only way we can get quartz right now is via sifting. Right? Yeah, that's the only way we can get it right now from the Red Canyon dust. Luckily, that's a 100% chance, so it's not that difficult to get. And then the quest book does mention using the RF tool crafter to house all the presses, since the molecular assemblers of the logistics network does not deal well with reusable components, which is a very good tip. It's essentially saying how AE2 doesn't like recipes with reusable components. So if you try to auto-craft this and say you want to make 64 of these, AE2 is going to say, okay, I can make 64 of these, I just need 4 of these inscriber silicon presses to do it. It doesn't like that this isn't used, but the crafter from RF Tools lets you do that And you can, I believe like the tier 3 version stores a lot of crafts, so it actually makes it really easy. And the RF Tools Crafter, yep, tier 3 is just made from crafting tables, redstone torches, and a tier 2. A tier 2 is the same, a tier 1 is the same, and the tier machine frame is just a heavy engineering block, some brittle plastic, steel plate, and stardust. So pretty easy to do. And then we'll just add that guy right here to the leadstone thingamabob. So we can add this right there. So let me go ahead and craft that guy real quick. So now if we come around here and plop it down, it's going to get some energy. And there it is. It's quite nice. So now we can just store these inside. And then I believe to set a recipe, you're going to double click this. And then you have to put the recipe inside. So if we do U and do that, saves it, apply that one there. Double click this one, U, apply there, printed calculation and printed circuit base. Now you just have to put the items inside and it can do it pretty easily. All items and input are, oh, I do have to change this. Keep one item in every inventory slot. All are consumed. Result of the crafting operation will go to output buffer, but remaining items will stay in input. Okay, I think it should work as is, which is pretty nice. Now we just have to get these items. So redstone comparators are pretty cheap. Light gray plastic, quartz, charged Certus. Where did I leave all the Certus? Not sure. It's in one of these chests, but I'm just going to go grab some more real quick. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention. So I figured out a very cheap way to fully automate the brittle plastic production using just 3 machines. So obviously the tree fluid extractor makes the latex, but I have a open blocks block placer underneath filled with spruce that places the spruce wood in front of it, and a observer. The observer is looking at the wood, and once the wood breaks after it runs out of latex, it sends a pulse to the block placer to place another piece of spruce. Really nifty. Means I don't have to do that manually because I kept forgetting. But now we come in here, and if I just throw all of this inside, it makes it. And then do this one. How do I? Oh, there we go. It wasn't applied. Perfect. I'm not actually sure. This is like the first time I've actually used it to do these. This is the first time I've used it to handle this type of crafting. So I wonder if I just have if I have AE2 push the items inside, will it know to automatically craft this? Or did it just not work because I didn't hit apply when I like changed it before? I'm not actually sure. There we go, we have our printed circuit bases. Now we just have to put these into the induction smelter to cook them up. And that's going to make, and luckily it's very fast, our calculation processors. Now I didn't see the other processors, so I guess they're not needed in this version. Or at least that's just how it was set up. So now we can take our 8 calculation processors, and what was next after that? Okay, so we're going to use some of them to make network I/O ports. We're going to use 3 to make the ME controller. Oh, that's funny. Future block. I wonder, future block? This one. Oh, you could just make these. Because I was going to say, oh, that's funny. Because these are the future blocks, so we can actually just harvest these from here. Like so. Okay, that was the wrong thing. There we go. I guess it doesn't really matter that I remove that. You actually use this to craft other stuff, which makes it a pretty convenient source, funny enough. So I'll just go ahead and throw that in here for now. Put that away. And then what do we need? So future block, we'll need flux crystal, compressed iron, the network I/O port, and for the network I/O ports, we are going to need capacitors and transistors, which are going to be made in the industrial assembler or the engineer's workbench. Can I make this guy? Industrial assembler. It does take a lot of power. Machine controller, quartz glass, conveyor belt, sheet metal, casing, reinforced steel, energized input, output, heavy engineering, steel slab. I think the only thing we couldn't make before is the quartz glass, right? But now we can make it because this is just the quartz dust, which... Oh no, we could make this before because it's quartz dust, which is just from quartz. I would have needed a pulverizer to pulverize this. Otherwise, though, it is fully available. Did I not make a pulverizer? I did not. but that was fully available to us, funny enough. Regardless though, we still need to craft one of these, so we need 2 capacitors, which will take light blue plastic, electrum, steel, and fluix, and this one will take gray plastic, steel rod, electrum, and fluix. And to make fluix, we just have to drop charged certus, nether quartz, and redstone dust into a puddle to one another and wait a few moments to get 2 fluix crystals. So it's actually pretty standard. This is like the drop in water you always have to do to make the fluix. And there we are, my quartz. Thank you. And we just need a body of water, which is right over here. Let's go ahead and make some fluix. So charged, redstone, and quartz. It should combine to make fluix. Perfect. Now take the fluix. We need 2 of these. So we need 2 light blue plastic and 2 gray plastic. So we'll just come out to our plastic machine over here. Ow. I love I love live cables. So we need 2 light gray and 2 light blue. Cyan, light blue. There it is. Then we just need 4 steel rods plus 3. So we need 10 steel rods, which is just 5 steel, pretty cheap. Grab the steel rods, and then I think that's everything. Oh, the electrum ingots. Electrum. And to think, I made that stack of electrum by accident at like the beginning of the playthrough. Nice to see that they're paying off. Steel rod. So now we can make 2 of these. And what am I missing for this? Steel rod, gray plastic, electrum, fluix. Oh, I made light gray. That has to be regular gray. Whoops. Well, I think I can remelt this, right? Yeah. Oh, you can remelt it, but I don't think I have heat on this TPP. No, you have to have heat on the plastic mixer. So let's see. We can. Yeah, we're gonna use it later, so it's not a waste. So I need gray plastic. Come back over here, and we can make the transistors. 2 and 2. Is that how much I needed? What was I using these to craft? Oh, right, this thing. The network I/O port. So now we come to our crafting table and make a network I/O port. Now that those are done, we can use these to make a remote. I don't know why you need that, but we actually need this to make the controller. So we need some compressed iron. So let's go ahead and run this through the machine over here. And I think it's set up correctly. This should say, yeah, input. Oh, I think this is why I dislike Pneumaticraft. Filter iron. But you can't actually put it in like that. You need a hopper or something. Okay, so if I throw an inventory here and then throw a hopper on this side, now it should work. Yeah, there we go. So now the iron's going to go inside very slowly at that. You're working? I think it is. What is it doing? No problems. Import mode. Okay, so I think it's waiting for the full stack. Filter. Redstone behavior, always on. Okay, there we go. Now it's converting, and it's going to come out and... Where'd it go? There it is. I thought I put a stack. Oh no, I didn't put a stack, because I made a hopper. Okay, so now we have our compressed iron. And now, can I make this? I think so. So now if we come back to the crafting station, we can make ourselves one. Oh, I need more fluix. Wait, what happened to the fluix I had? Oh, I left it over here. There it is, fluix. Now, we can craft the ME controller. Da-da-da-da, have to do my own sound effects. Then we'll need an ME drive, some crafting CPUs, ME interfaces, molecular assembler, you know the standard ME stuff. Blank patterns are made from dimensional shard and light gray plastic. We'll need an ME crafting and pattern terminal, and then smart cables. And I think I'll ignore the dense smart cables for now. I don't think we're going to need that many channels, at least to start. We'll definitely need a bunch more later on, but for the beginning of our system, it's not going to matter too much. but now that logistics is essentially done, I just have to finish building out the AE2 system. We can look at Slow Down Kit. XC443. Now that you've unlocked robust logistic capabilities, you can freely automate and improve on previous designs. These added capabilities mean that we also will expect more from you. Future tasks will require a lot more materials and a robust automation of ingredients from the earlier simulations. Before rushing off to complete the next shiny task, we think you should have the following things up and running: a basic AE2 network, an ore quarry, Ender IO conduits, automated ore smelting, plate, gear, and alloy auto crafting, star metal automation, lubricant automation, sanguine metal auto crafting, dried brick automation, brittle plastic automation, and that's about it. Guidance. The following pages will go into more depths about some of these requirements. We say requirements, but they are optional. You're free to choose your own pains. Automated ore smelting. We recommend using induction smelters to process ores into ingots. This method is preferred by our people since it produces a lot of rich slag. To smelt ores this way, you'll also need a large amount of sand. Automate this too. Okay, sand automation is very easy. There's a machine for that. A large amount of blood can be produced by setting up automation that places the blessed blood resin logs on the ground and having the tree fluid extractors tap the logs for blood. Bloody mud has an alternative recipe in the fluid transposer. We already have the starting automation for the lubricant and lubricated gears, so that's not too difficult. I just need to add filters for the byproducts, obviously. Drying automation. Both brittle plastic and dried plastic are produced through drying. The drying racks you made in the first simulation is fully capable of being automated since they respond to cable I/O. If you want to ramp up production early, the mass drying chamber may be worth to invest into. And that's it. Let's see, mass drying chamber. Mass drying chamber, what is that? Mass drying. Oh, cool. Okay, so the mass drying chamber lets you dry stacks of these, well, not stacks, half a stack of these at a time for 220 ticks. A tick is 1 second is 20 ticks. So this is 11 seconds. So in 11 seconds, you could do half a stack. So that's really efficient. And then to build this, actually pretty cheap. Wooden path and lava. What is lava wood? Lava wood. Lava wood. Lava on planks. Interesting. I've never seen this before. Has this always been in Tinkers? I've never noticed that. And then it said we need the drying. Alright, if you spell it right, it comes up. The wooden path, which is from blood magic, right? Yeah, it is. Wooden path. Okay, pretty cheap. Okay, so it's a pretty cheap machine to make. Drying rack. Of course, oh, that's the wrong thing. I want the mass drying chamber. Of course, the only issue is this guy will take, actually, that's not an issue at all. It doesn't look like it uses any energy. It just does any of these recipes in 11 seconds. Okay, yeah, that's going to be very worth it to build. Because otherwise, if you want to do that same kind of throughput, I would have to build out like probably 22 drying racks to receive that same amount of speed, which is pretty good. And it doesn't take any energy, which is really nice. So let's see. So we need basic AE2, an ore quarry. Oh, but that's just the builder's quarry. I thought there was a different one. But I guess it doesn't matter too much. Automated ore smelting, plate, gear, and alloy auto crafting. Kind of already done. Star metal automation, lubricant automation. Okay, so most of these are done. So it's just going to be a matter of setting them up. Definitely means, let me go to like a high ground. Let's see if that works. That definitely means I need to start moving some stuff around. Because I think what you can do actually is, I believe the conveyor belt to do work with the AE2, whatchamacallit, what are these? ME interfaces. But I wonder, can I make, like if I want rods, iron rod. Okay, so stuff like iron rods has to be made in here. And then the gears, most of the gears have to be made. Okay, so stuff like rods has to be made in the metal press, but all of the gears can go in the compactor with the gear working die. So that would make things a lot faster. Lubricated gear, this is the only thing that we need from the lubricant, right? Lubricant. Okay, so lubricant is only used for the lubricated gears. So really, all I have to add here is an export bus to push compressed iron into the compactor, and then it already is fully automated everything else. Not everything else, everywhere else. The only thing I have to add... Why are you stuck? It's because of the bones. Oh, weird. Yeah, so the only thing I have to add is a trash can. Right here to output the bones. Or we can store them actually. Doesn't matter too much, I don't think. We could do either or. As even though this is completely full, it does still function. So I think what's happening is this raw fish is being filled up and then pushing here. And even though it's not super fast, if we just keep this running all the time, it doesn't really matter. We'll just eventually have a really huge backlog of these lubricated gears that we can use for further crafting. But of course, that does leave the final question. Where should I build the ME controller? And it's probably going to go above the rest of the factory, just to make it easy to connect all the wires everywhere. That's generally how I like to do it, either above or below, and since below is the void, I'm going to put it above. But I have a lot of stuff I need to get done, very long checklist, but once it's all complete, that should make the proceeding, wait, is it proceeding? Does proceeding mean after? I'm not actually sure, but I'm going to use it like that anyway. It should make the preceding chapters go on even easier. Several long days later, and welcome back. Now, as you can probably tell, the base has undergone quite the transformation. Let me walk you through it. So this is our ME setup. Looks very fancy, but it's really quite simple. So in case you've never played with AE2 and are unsure what you're looking at, let me run you through the basics. This is the ME controller. All it does is act as a network to store everything AE2 is doing. Each face has 16 channels. A channel just means you need a channel for every AE2 machine attached to it. Well, I wouldn't say machine, probably block, but not every block requires a channel. So, with smart cables, you can read how many channels are being used. So you can see this white smart cable has 6 of 16, whereas something like, if I come to this side over here and look at this orange one has 4 of 16. When it comes to channels, you just need to have enough channels for everything you want to run. For example, I have this very dense pink cable here because the dense version can move 128 channels. Even though a face can only move 32, if you try to connect to the inside here, you're going to need a dense cable to connect all those channels. Now, these are the molecular assemblers and ME interface stacks. These are just what you use to handle all of your auto-crafting. There we go, auto-crafting. This is where you store the bulk of your patterns. These are all the crafting storage units. You need crafting storage in order to do any amount of auto-crafting. Pretty simple stuff. This is my big bulk storage. And let's go downstairs. Now I did find that this mod pack did have the elevator mod, which makes it very nice to go up and down. Now you can see over here I expanded our, whatchamacallit, tiny rubber production, so we could produce a lot more rubber, as you can see here, compactor. I do need to upgrade the servo so we can actually produce more rubber faster. We have the full setup here for our LPG. Funny enough, I realized LPG is really only used in the production of liquid plastic. It's really not used anywhere else. So this setup is kind of overkill, but we do need quite a lot of plastic. Now here's the main thing when it comes to channels you have to worry about. So this is our plastic setup. The thing about Pneumaticraft is that from what I looked at, we're gonna need every single color of plastic, minus brown. I don't think brown had like any use. There might be a couple other ones that don't have any uses and I missed them. Regardless though, so I set up 15 plastic mixers, but you can see that would take 16 channels. As you can see there, ME smart cables, 16 of 16. So what I set up is a subnet. The subnet is essentially using this quartz fiber. A quartz fiber passes power but no channels. So by setting up the quartz fiber in between these two cables, we pass the power from the main network, but it's not connected. So it's disconnected, and a subnet can only handle 16 channels. And it's useful because all I need it to do is have this portable tank as a storage for the, what's the word, liquid plastic, and then pull that plastic out and push it into all of these mixers. Then over here, I have a basic drawer setup with red, green, and lapis to push into all the mixers to make the plastic of different colors, and they get pulled out and pushed into this drawer, where this drawer controller is acting as another storage bus to store everything. Now it looks like this drawer is actually making tons and tons of white plastic, which I didn't notice, so I should probably fix that. Luckily it's not making any more, which is pretty useful. Oh, because it's not connected, that's why. The issue I had when I first set this up was I had these item conduits going into the drawer controller, but because they were pushing into the controller, any excess plastic was just going into the system. So if we run back over here and go upstairs and take a look, we have 2068 plastic. We really don't need that much, but now I have it. Now I was able to set up automation for pretty much everything we needed, which is why it took me a couple, an extra day to get this video out, because it just took a very long time. So let me walk you through some of the main ones that I think are the most important. Something I do have to set up, I need to figure out a efficient way to get infinite blood for the blood altar, because anything related to blood magic, I haven't automated it, and that's mostly to do with the blank slates, which is really annoying, especially for anything using the blessed machinery stuff. Those generally use blank slates, so I've been having to craft those manually, which is a little annoying. And I finally figured out how to automate the light well, which was really annoying. So it turns out the light well can only really input and output with pipes from the bottom, and thanks to Ender IO, you can do a fluid and an item pipe in the same block, which is really handy. So I just have our aquamarine getting fed into the light well. This produces liquid starlight, and we feed that into the machines that need them. Now coming over to our thermoelectric generator, using a little bit of redstone, let me come up here. I set up a redstone comparator that just turns it off whenever the output hatch dips below, or I think it's over 25% is when it shuts it off. Anytime it goes over 25%, it just shuts off, which means there's no loss to energy. Because what I was having an issue before is that you would turn this on, it would The issue I was having before is that you would turn on the thermoelectric generator and it would start generating a ton of power, but then once it was full, it would keep generating more power, and it was a waste of, input items. But for the most part, it works pretty well. So I have another light well feeding this guy with liquid starlight, and on the other side, it's still full of liquid blaze. But once it's done with this liquid blaze, it's going to pull out the blazing pyrethrum, which is going to let us produce, I think, like 10 times more Fe per tick, which is pretty good. Currently, we produce way more power than we actually need, which is pretty nice. So I haven't had to worry about running any of our machines. So here's my drying machine. This is where I handle making our dried brick and our plastic. This is our, what machine are you? The industrial assembler. This guy is handling all of the industrial machine crafting, so machine frames, device frames, vacuum tubes, that kind of stuff. Really handy. And then I just added a row with a bunch of machines to auto-craft, well, not auto-craft, so we can demand craft a bunch of stuff. So like aquamarine can be made from aquamarine shale, pulverized coal, flux dust, star metal ingots, all of the plates, all of the gears, all of the alloys and other ingots, bloody mud, and sanguine metal. These ender chests, I'll explain what they're doing in a second. And what are you doing? Oh, this one's making polymer clay. So here's a caveat. In newer versions of AE2, you can specify liquids in auto-crafting operations. I can't seem to do it in Minecraft 1.12.2. So to get around that, what I'm doing is just having something like the fluid transposer with the liquid plastic recipe, is just having it always push liquid plastic into this transposer, and then when I want to do the autocraft, it only pushes in the polymer base. In newer versions, you would just tell it, push in the clay, push in the liquid, and in newer versions, you would just tell it, push in the item, push in the liquid into this machine, and make the item. So it's a little finicky, but it does work. And the last stop on our tour is our sand generator. So it looks like it did stop working again, which is annoying. Let me grab my steel pickaxe and break this. It breaks anytime you, what's the word? It stops working anytime you reload the game, but then you just have to come over here and then break the sand so it starts falling. All this does is collect sand and, what is this, the aquamarine shale. Because when you combine liquid starlight and lava, it makes sand with a very small chance to make aquamarine shell, which is how I'm making aquamarine a renewable resource. Now let's head back to the contained ecosystem so we can look at my builder's quarry. So here it is. Originally I had it running off of 6 water wheels, but it really wasn't all that fast. So instead I used the power cell from RF Tools to move energy between dimensions, and it works pretty well. It does have a 20% extra cost when you move energy between dimensions. As you can see here, the output has a cost of 1.2%, so it does cost a bit more than you get out of it. But it runs the quarry really well, as you can see here. And then I have it chunk loaded, so it's always running, which is very nice. And that is connected to this ender chest, which is red, 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 which goes to a induction furnace on the other side and smelts all the ores. And then the way I set this up is this shape card has the dimension set as 100, 90, 100, so it's looking at a massive area, and then using this filter module, it's filtered to only grab the stuff I want. So all of the ores, clay, and I think that's it. There's nothing else in this dimension I needed to get out of the builder's quarry, just all of the ores. Now let's head to the star metal forge, where I fully automated the production of star metal. As you can see here, I have some more ender chests. This blue one is storing the star metal ore. This one that is brown, brown, white is storing, what's the word, iron ore. And essentially all it's doing is iron ore gets pumped into this mechanical user, it gets placed, the floating crystal turns it into star metal ingots, and the star metal ore gets teleported back to the main base. Pretty simple. It only took a scanner, a mechanical miner, and a mechanical user, so it's really simple to set up. Pretty nice setup too, and didn't take much more work than that. So now let's head back to the void base and take a look at the final piece of machinery I set up, which is the oil automation. So now for our LPG, in order to have an somewhat infinite supply of oil, I just hooked up 3 water wheels to this immersive engineering fluid pump and used an ender tank, which is set to all black for oil, to teleport the oil from this river back to the base across dimensions. Works really well. Then there's still the blood magic, TNT harvesting machine, pretty useful. Annoying to automate. Technically, I could fully automate it, but I don't need too much Certus now that I've fully built out my infrastructure for the most part. At least I hope I'm not going to need more. And that's pretty much the entire base. Taking a look at the quest book here, the Arid Waste, and go to Slow Down Kid. Basic AE2, this is more of an advanced setup, but a basic AE2 network really is just a couple autocrafts and the digital storage. Ore quarry done, Ender IO conduits done, automated ore smelting done, plate gear and alloy autocrafting done, star metal automated, lubricant automated, sanguine metal autocrafting setup, dried brick setup, brittle plastic setup, and plastic setup. All really nice. And a lot of stuff gets ended up storing here, like you see the star metal, we have plastic, we have brittle plastic, we have 1 gear taking up a whole drawer slot for some reason. That's what's a little annoying about having, a drawer controller. If you don't filter everything beforehand, things just kind of take up their own space. But now it works really well. So you can see we have 17,000 sand, just in case we need that for something. We're slowly getting more rich slag, as that's going to be useful later on for making stuff like this hyper nutritious worm milk, which takes 32. But other than that, it's all pretty much set up. So now we can finally take a look at the next chapter, corrosion. We can repurpose red rocks into a sturdy building brick by dropping it in some acid. The only acid available right now is etching acid, which is made by combining ammonium nitrate with the venom glands and rotten flesh. Now, something I do find interesting, I've fought some of these scorpions before, and I don't think I've gotten any venom glands. I do have max level luck on this though, Yeah, they're not dropping it. If it's supposed to be a guaranteed drop, it's not working. Which is really annoying. Well, I surely don't appreciate getting stabbed by whatchamacallits. Let's see. So we need fish oil. Can I take fish oil just by right-clicking this? You can. Nice. So we take the fish oil, and what am I supposed to do with this? Oh, take the fish oil and mix it with niter. There's our niter. So come out over here. I already pre-built the new machines. Niter and put in some fish oil. That's going to turn into ammonium nitrate solution. And I'm going to have to do that one more time because it looks like it only makes half a bucket. And I'll just leave that in there for now. So now we have 1 bucket of ammonium nitrate. Then we take this ammonium nitrate and we're going to mix it with 4 scorpion venom glands and 4 rotten flesh. So now we should be able to put this in there. It's going to go inside. Then it should mix. Oh, I know what's going on. I didn't filter this. That's really annoying. So what you have to do is come out over here. You have to filter this for the etching acid. Or actually, what I can do is just do a filter for item name contains etching. Like so. Now if I put this back in, 1, 2, 3, 4, it should stay in there until it's mixed. There's the bucket. So now we're waiting on the venom glands. And there we go, 3 bar. I just added more speed upgrades into the compressor. So now we have etching acid. Don't spill it on your shirt. And now we can take our red rock cobblestone and turn it into corroded rock. I wonder how much... Wait a minute. Usually the other ones showed like 64. This one just showed 1. That concerns me a little. Does that mean I can only make 1 out of this? Okay, no, perfect. It doesn't use the acid. So you could just throw a whole bunch in there. So now we could just make a bunch of corroded rock, which is just netherrack. Now we have this. Oh, we could turn it into lava in the light well. Interesting. But we just need to cook this in the furnace. We can also make obsidian. To make our nether bricks. And then to do that, we could do the soul sand, but we don't have soul sand. So I should have a furnace right here. And that'll just auto output back into the AE system. And to finish this off and make the nether brick, we need 32. So to make 1, you need 4. 1 brick per 1. So that's about 4 stacks of corroded rock. So not too bad. This is the point where you're kind of... What's the word? You're not kind of. This is the point where the amount of items you're going to have to craft has scaled up dramatically. And you're just going to have to deal with that. Now if we come in here and type in brick, we can see all of our nether bricks. And we should be able to make 32. Perfect. Corroded rock, nether brick, combat simulation. And to make this, we've got to put it into the industrial assembler. So we need also a suit covered machine casing, which is going to take this stuff. Why does this? Oh, it's saying missing because of that. We're going to need some more fluics though. Okay, perfect. And we need 4 of these. So let me type in 4 controller. 4. Perfect. Start. So there's the controller. We have the nether brick. We're going to need 64 seared brick, which I definitely didn't set up an autocraft for because I didn't think we would need it. 8 capacitors, that's an autocraft. 8 of these. Done. 16 lubricated gears. So I'm going to need to craft 15 of these. See, I got to remember not to touch my numpad because I use that for my OBS shortcuts, but I also use it to type in numbers like automatically. 64 purple plastic, purple, and it's going to fill up quite fast, as you can see there. There's our controllers. So now we just need a suit-covered machine casing, the seared brick, suit-covered redstone, and the flux crystals. Shouldn't be that difficult to get. It's just going to take a little bit of setup. Hop graphite we can make in our Starlight Crafting altar. This is all stuff we have now. Suit-covered redstone is crushing redstone on a block of coal. I do remember that one. So if we make a block of coal, and then grab some redstone, it's as easy as just placing this down and then left-clicking. It is annoying though that you can't... I think you can automate this. Okay, there's our suit-covered redstone. We need a suit-covered machine casing, which will be 2 black plastic. Oh. What's going to happen is I only want 2, but I'm going to take out like more. There we go, 2. Put it back. See. Can I do the control click? No, you cannot. What it's saying is it knows how to craft this stuff. So if I type in machine frame, and it has to be blessed. Oh, I don't have blank slates. Okay, I'll get those. Suit covered plate is just obsidian and the suit covered redstone. So let me make some more of that. Right, so now we have all of the items. So now if we come to... Oh, I can't actually reach it. Huh, that's funny. I don't want to break this though. And we only ever need 1 of these. Okay, I guess I'll just break it. It doesn't matter. So now we just put in suit covered machine casing, lubricated gear, capacitor, purple plastic, nether bricks, suit covered redstone, flux crystal, seared brick, and the controllers. And now it should get pulled inside. And start building the combat simulation portal block. Now let me re-put in all of this stuff. Pattern expansion cards, this, all of that. That's everything. Perfect. And now we'll have the combat simulation portal block. And in addition to that, we also need to make the arid waste idle. Arid waste idle. There we go. What are the mastery tokens for? I'm guessing this is like a late game thing. Okay, 80%. And then to make this, charge Certus, some more lubricated gear. Yeah, this is a lot easier. Totem of Undying, which we can just get from the lunar biome. And it's done. Come out in there. And there it goes. Off to the A system. So let's go ahead and craft ourselves the thingamabob. Back from my little excursion, I also had to pick up some red rock. So now, put that away. We can come in here and make the arid waste idle. And we can also grab the combat simulation block. And now if we come over here, we can go to the combat simulation portal and light this guy. Okay, I should probably fill that gap. Take out this, plop that one. The black portal opens to the combat simulation. And there's nothing else in here, right? Portal assemble, end of dimension tips. We just gotta go in and see what we unlock. Welcome to Simulation 4, the combat simulation. Okay, there's mobs everywhere. Hi, spider. Oh, we're right next to a bunch of spawners. Okay, that can't be good. I need to really read the quest book and figure out what the deal is with this portal dimension, with this simulation. Now we did get the arid waste idle. Let me come out over here and place that down right here. Arid waste completed. And you get 16k ME storage. Nice. Now what did this say? Good job, XE443. You made it to the combat simulation. You have been rewarded with some logistics components as well as a participation trophy for completing the 3rd simulated dimension. A world designed to test your combat prowess. However, something does not quite check out. Okay, let's take a look at the combat simulation chapter. The combat simulation was designed to test the combat prowess of the participant. It's a grueling place, but we're confident in your adaptability. Great news, XC443, your prefrontal cortex is now huge. It used to be so tiny, we're a bit proud of you. But now it's huge as we said, not huge by our standards, but huge in comparison to where you started. Maybe 80 to 85% of where we want you to be at the end of the simulations. Anyways, to get to the point, we believe it's time to lift some of the restrictions we've placed upon you in reaching a new simulation. Starting now, you will no longer have to acquire books of knowledge to advance to certain crafts. And, some of these are locked. Interesting. So it looks like we're going to get advanced circuitry from Pneumaticraft. We're going to get into deep learning, monster safari. Oh, so we can make mob imprisonment tools to capture stuff. Interesting. So I really wonder what the point of this... Oh wait, what was this one? Interesting, it's just a picture. A dark presence calls you out from the void. Interesting. And then there's locked chapters, so I wonder how we're gonna unlock these. All the other simulations didn't have anything locked, which I find interesting. And then that only leaves this one and this, which is empty. Now I did notice there's... I thought I was falling into the void. These elevators here, which is related to when it said don't build anything up there, so I wonder when we're gonna unlock that. But now I guess we're just fighting mobs, which is pretty funny. I guess it'll be time to upgrade my armor from steel to something else. The quest book does mention using the glitch armor, which I've never actually used before. Regardless though, this episode has gone on quite long enough. I'm your host, Hamas28, and I'll see you all next time.